A new awakening has introduced a lot of content from the Digimon Adventure 2 franchise. While we do get Armored Digimon and even the Digimon Emperor, part of me wishes that there were other cards from this series as well. And for today's What If episode, I go over what if Bandai added a new type of card to the Digimon trading card game. In the present trading card game, we have Digimon, Tamers, and option cards. Clean and simple. However, Digimon have slowly gone from single color to multiple colors that they can digivolve to, and to multicolor. Tamers have gone from your run-of-the-mill memory fixers to certain criterias, inheritable Tamers, and now dual-color Tamers. While option cards have gone from typical cards that trigger insecurity to delay effects. As the game continuously evolves, what if Bandai were to introduce item cards to the game? Now hear me out. I loved Digimon Tamers. It is by far my favorite series of the Digimon franchise for the fact that you had a protagonist who made up his own Digimon. And Digimodify was just the best thing ever. To that end though, this What If episode will first tie into certain item cards for the present Digimon Adventure 02 series, and then end with what if ideas for other items or equipment type cards. But before we begin, item cards will be similar to equipment or item cards in Magic the Gathering. For memory cost, you literally drop the item or object onto the battlefield, and then from there, the item either has a passive effect or requires a Digimon to equip it to themselves for another cost in order to use the effect. Basically, think of yourself as a god dropping an item on the ground in front of Digimon. Then the Digimon picks up said item to get special effects. Other items would simply exist on the battlefield with a stagnant effect. The memory cost to play the item would be similar to Tamers, but the equipment cost would be where a specific color source is required. I'll go over such an item later in this video. With the O2 franchise having Armored Digimon and the Digimon Emperor, the first item option that I wanted to see was Control Spires. Control Spires, funny enough, would be an item that when it hits the battlefield, makes it so that when your opponent digivolves, you can suspend this card to increase the digivolution cost by 1. All turns, while this card is suspended, this card is treated as a Digimon with 8000 DP. So while this card and multiples of them can be used for messing with your opponent's digivolution climbs, they can also simply swing into it and break the Control Spire, which would be typical of the show. In addition, the 8000 DP threshold was picked for the fact that if you invest 2 or 3 memory only to have your opponent delete this later, this is more of an item that will slow the game down while you build your own digivolution stack. But overall, this game has gotten pretty fast, with only slower games being played predominantly in the yellow category due to the ability to recover security. Now the next item I want to go over is, yep, you guessed it, the Dark Ring. Featured in the Digimon Adventure 02 series, the Dark Rings were an object used by the Digimon Emperor to take control of a Digimon, and this item is no different. You can take control of a level 4 or lower Digimon on your opponent's battlefield. Other caveats are the Digimon cannot be digivolved over, meaning if you want to do DNA shenanigans with Chimeramon, you can't. Nope, the Dark Ring is simply a way to steal your opponent's Digimon that are level 4 and lower. In addition, while the Digimon is suspended, if it would be deleted in battle, the Dark Ring is destroyed in its place, and it is returned to its original owner's possession on the battlefield in the same position. Again, more flavor text from the original Adventure 2 series, that when the Dark Ring was broken, the Digimon regained its senses and was free to do whatever it pleased again. Now I know you might be thinking, why are item cards so interesting? I'm not simply limiting the item pool to cards in the Adventure 02 series, I'm also talking about Digimon Tamers and the Modify cards that can do some hilarious shenanigans. Take Henry Wong and Terriermon for example. In the Tamers series, Terriermon uses items not once, but several times. One instance, you have Henry swiping a card and bequeathing Terriermon with Zudomon's hammer to land a blow on Pajiramon, the Sheepdeva's, head. For this example, Zudomon could be a 3-cost item card that drops to the battlefield. But in order to equip it, you need to pay 2 memory while a blue source is out on the field. In essence, the cost to play the item would be a rainbow circle with 3, and the equip cost would be 2 blue. And the effect could be simply when this Digimon attacks, gain 1 memory. Another example would be Wargreymmon's shield. Terriermon also used this item to deflect a blow from Sandiramon, the Snake Deva. Again, 3 memory costs to drop the item onto the battlefield, but to equip, you need to pay 2 memory with a red source out. While equipped, this Digimon has Blocker. Now there are a slew of other rulings to consider with item cards. When digivolving, what happens to the item? Because the Digimon is the same, I don't see the status of the item dropping off. The only time I could see items falling off would be when the Digimon is deleted or used for DNA Digivolution. Because DNA Digivolution creates a brand new Digimon, it resets the entire status, so the item would fall off and require another re-equip. If the Digimon is deleted and brought back later from the trash, its status on the field is a new Digimon, similar to how Lilith Loop works. And while you may be thinking items could be fun or very broken, new mechanics bring life to trading card games. Not only would you have new cards to collect, but you'd also have new mechanics that could probably delete items as well. BT7 was not long ago, and with Tamers there were only 2 cards that could delete them, being Omnimon Sword Defeat and Lucemon Chaos Mode. With BT8 there are more cards that can delete Tamers, but Tamers for a long time were an untouchable resource. And if Bandai were to make item cards, I would expect Digimon to have effects that let you delete items or whatever you want to call them on the battlefield. What are your thoughts on new type of cards in the Digimon card game? Would you call them items, programs, or something different altogether? With new mechanics, is this the right or wrong direction for the game? Let me know in the comments below. Next week, I have another fun topic to explore, and I hope you tune in then. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.